Welcome back to your weekly roundup of everything that happened in Zenless Zone Zero, where we will cover everything that you missed inside and outside of the game. Starting with the in-game news, aside from the current events, there's nothing too exciting to talk about this week, as we are nearing the midway point in the patch, which means you've got just over a week left before the banner switches over from Unagi to Lighter. Of course, that will also mean that the new agent story and TV schedule will come out next week featuring Lighter. And so, in the meantime, if you are interested in him, within the upcoming week, you should keep an eye out for some of your favorite Zenless creators uploading their own creator server footage and reviews. Nudge nudge, wink wink, like me. And if you are already considering getting Lighter, why not spend this week pre-farming those stun and fire items, as well as the Crimson or Purple materials and the Scarlet Engine Notorious Hunt drops. And speaking of pre-farming, the one event that we do have this week will be a double drop event happening from the 22nd to the 27th of November, specifically for combat simulation stages. So that is for XP, Denny's, or those previously mentioned fire and stun materials. Next, moving over to the social media aspect of things. First, it's not mentioned anywhere on the official social media because technically it hasn't been announced yet, but later today on the 18th of November, depending on when you are in the world, the nominees for the annual Video Game Awards will be announced. Now, we can't say for certain if Zenless Zone Zero will be one of the nominees for something like Mobile Game of the Year, but it is something to keep an eye out for because it's possible that the developers might see the prestige of getting a nomination, and maybe even if Zenless Zone Zero wins, they might see this as a reason to celebrate by handing out some freebies. After all, if we look over at Honkai Star Rail, after winning multiple Mobile Game of the Year awards, including of course the one from the Video Game Awards, they gave out a free doctor ratio for everyone. But this is more of a speculation thing for now though. We'll have to wait and see what happens. After all, being nominated is one thing, winning is the other, especially when you have to consider that we're going up against the other MiHoYo games, such as Genshin and Honkai Star Rail, and of course titans like Monopoly Go or whatever the Monopoly mobile game is. Otherwise though, we do have a new set of avatars featuring both Yanagi and Lighter that you can download for free. It's only these 4 images though, so unfortunately it isn't as packed as some of the sticker packs that we've been getting as of late, but they will be fine additions to the collection nonetheless, I think. And lastly, for social media things, we have a Twitter event to commemorate the introduction of the, I don't know how to pronounce this, Sans Undertale, the new store that was introduced this patch. So until the 20th of November, all you have to do is follow the main account for Zenless Zone Zero and share a photo of the favorite store that you like to visit most in-game. Add that to the comments of the linked post down in the description below, and doing so could earn you 120 polychromes. And then last but certainly not least, it's everyone's favorite, the speculation zone. Now I know I kind of already did some speculation with the Game Awards freebie stuff, but allow me to go even more wild with my speculation. And that is to say that we can probably expect to see the virtual idol group as our featured units for patch 1.5, which means that drip marketing for them would begin around the end of our current patch, so like say 4 weeks from now. For those of you who aren't aware about the virtual idol group, we only know of this because before the game even came out, there was a concept art that was shown off on one of the Chinese Bilibili accounts. And this was essentially the only official place where this was shown off, so I wouldn't fault you for not knowing about them. But essentially it looks like 3 girls, some of which look very Android-y-ish, like Billy. And why do I say that they might be coming up next? Well, in the recent Virtual Mayhem event, which again, virtual like virtual idols, the whole purpose of why we go to the HIA club and do those little trials is because of the little bamboo called Snap that appeared at our store one day. Except it was actually somebody else controlling that bamboo, kind of like how we use AOS to travel in Hollows. And then this person controlling Snap asked us to save someone who somehow got themselves stuck in the virtual world. And interestingly, whenever they refer to this trapped person, they refer to them as a quote, virtual construct, which to me sounds kind of fishy. And if we look at some of the character design sheets for the virtual idol girls, I think it's very obvious to say that they do look very technological, like I said, like Billy. Now, we don't know if this person controlling the bamboo is said virtual construct in question, or maybe somebody else from the group trying to save another member. But also, when we first speak to Snap in the video store, they kind of slip up and mention that they are actually one of the stars in some of the movies that we have on display. Again, adding to the notion of this is a somewhat famous person, maybe like an idol of sorts. They of course do try to cover this up by instantly saying, oh, you know, I was actually talking about my favorite movie star, not that I'm that star, which honestly could mean one of 2 things. Either the simple solution of they just don't want to let us know who they are, which makes sense because we do the same when we speak through EOS. Or if I can go even more conspiracy theorist on you guys, this idol is actually someone that doesn't like to draw attention to themselves. Maybe they like to keep things undercover. Maybe they are the type of movie star that would wear disguises when going out so that people don't recognize him. Which is funny, because again, looking at the concept art for the virtual idols, we can see one of them have the ability to alter their appearance. Or maybe this is that person. All of this and just so much more make it hard to believe that they aren't going to be the next set of units that we get. It'd be between them or the Obol squad in terms of characters that we know of that exist within the game currently, and we do know, by looking at things in the past, that future content has been teased in earlier patches, normally as slight little cameos that you don't really understand until it actually comes into fruition. For example, Lighter randomly appearing in the town since the start of the game, except that you never really got to speak with him, it was more of just him interacting with his fangirls. Or those two other gang members, which I forget the name of because they aren't Pulchra, but those two were seen already in patch 1.1 roaming around Luminous Square, and of course we wouldn't know who those were or what they meant until we saw them in patch 1.2. And I know a lot of people have been really excited for the virtual idols. I've seen many people saying that that is the group that they are saving for and waiting for, kind of similar to how people were doing the same for Miyabi. So take this speculation into mind though. Of course, patch 1.5 is still a whiles away, but you can use the time now to start saving up if you are running low on funds. Again, if they are going to be the 1.5 units, the drip marketing for them would come out somewhere around either the end of patch 1.3, our current patch, or towards the start of patch 1.4, because again, as usual, they always do drip marketing just before the new banner appears, unless it's Miyabi for whatever reason that took a little bit longer to reveal. But hey, for now, that is just a theory. Some might even call it a game theory. Otherwise, that is going to be it for this week's news roundup of Zenless Zone Zero. As always, if you found this useful, liking, commenting, and subscribing is greatly appreciated. So until next time, bye bye.